Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut, and hopefully you like this video and hit the subscribe button. As you know, waiting for more moves by the Mets. Be patient. It's always good to be patient. There's no reason to be impatient. It's only December 18th. I know these other teams are making moves, but it's a slow, very slow market. It's not as slow as last year, but the market is slow. And so just be patient. And I'm very patient. Again, the season doesn't start tomorrow. Okay? And all the players that have signed, for the most part, aren't guys the Mets wanted. The only player the Mets wanted, they got him. And that's Juan Soto, who they signed last week. Did you know that? I don't know if people know that. That's all people are talking about. But there are moves that need to be made. At some point, hopefully we'll get a resolution on Pete Alonso. Hopefully the Mets resign him. Got a good chance to bring him back. There was word last night that the Yankees were going to sign Paul Goldschmidt. If that happens, that's one less place for Pete to go to. And there's no, of course, the agent Scott Boras loses some leverage there. But that will be resolved. And of course, Mets still need pitching. They'll get some pitching here. It's just hold tight. They'll get it. But Brett Baty. Now, not only do we talk about players that are going to be coming in, we're going to be talking about players that are possibly going out. And one of the big names that's been talked about for quite a while is Brett Baty, and this is from CBS Sports. And they have a whole list of teams that he could be moved to. I think they're pretty much spot on where he could go. Now, one of the Mets going to be looking for probably relief help, some relief pitching, some pitching of some form, or maybe a prospect down the lower minors. We'll find out. He does have value. What that value is, it's not nearly as much as he should have had if he played well. If he played well, he would have been here. He would have been playing for the Mets. But he lost his role, obviously. Lost that job to Mark Vientos. But here we go from CBS Sports. Brett Baty landing spots. 5 teams who could trade for a former top Mets prospect and give him a second chance. Baty's been on the trade block since the rise of Mark Vientos, but that doesn't mean he's washed. Earlier this month, the New York Mets sent shockwaves, last week, shockwaves through baseball and New York when they signed Juan Soto to a record 15-year contract worth $765 million. The Mets won 89 games and went to the NLCS this past season. Their 65-38 record after June 2nd was baseball's best. And now they're adding one of the best hitters in the league and in the world. All signs point to a 2024 being the start of an extended run of contention with Steve Cohen's team. It's been sort of the stop and start the first 3 years, but it looks like it's gonna stay on the good side for a long time. Not everything went according to plan for the 24 Mets, though. New York, Brett Baty, erstwhile top prospect, played his way back to AAA after opening the season as the everyday third baseman. The good news is that opened the door for Mark Vientos, who ran with the opportunities now entrenched in the middle of the order. Baty's 25, was a consensus top 30 prospect in baseball as recently as 2023. Here's a snippet of Baseball America's scouting report at the time. Baty hit all batting benchmarks in 2022. He hit the ball hard with regularity. He didn't chase out of the zone often, and he made contact when he swung at pitches in the zone. Baty takes his walks and should be a high on-base hitter with above-average power. Baty has improved his defensive play at third base, where his plus arm plays, but his range and release grade is more capable than outstanding. I think that some of that's being generous, from what I saw. The scouting report has yet to translate into big league production. In 602 plate appearances across the last 3 seasons, he has hit .215 with a .325 slugging percentage, with only 15 home runs. Wow. He has been plagued by a high ground ball rate, as more than half of his at-bats in play have been on the ground in the big leagues. That won't work for a power. Given the emergence of Vientos, it was no surprise when the Post, New York Post, reported earlier this month that the Mets are getting calls about Baty. They're not actively shopping him, but they are listening. David Stearns wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't at least listen. At this point, it's unlikely Baty's future will be with the Mets. He's a prime change of scenery candidate. I know they played him at second, but he's not a middle infielder. He's just too big for the position. I think the Mets have plenty of guys that could play at second. A player this young and with this much talent deserves another chance, though maybe not with his current team. I think at this point, the Mets are sort of, they gave this sort of, last year was a was sort of a way for a lot of players to sort of do an audition, and that audition time's over. First up on this list, we're going to go do this list. It's some list of teams, boy. The dregs of baseball. And the number one dreg, the Chicago White Sox. Sorry, Brett, if you go there. But he will get a chance to play. The 121-loss team has no business being picky. White Sox need talent up and down the roster and should be all over a post-hype prospect like Baty. Their current third baseman is Miguel Vargas, who's a shaky defender at the high corner, might ultimately wind up at first or at left field. Creating room on the roster and in the line for Baty will be a non-issue. The real question is, what could the White Sox send the Mets in return? They've been picked pretty clean. Point is, the White Sox need talent, and Baty is talented. They are well positioned to give him a nice long run to figure things out. He has a long, I mean, that would be a perfect place for him because then he'll play. There's no pressure there in Chicago to begin with, especially for the second team in town. And they play him at third, and if he doesn't play well there, they'll put him at first a little bit, second, outfield. That's probably the best spot for him. Miami Marlins. What they got playing third in there? Connor Norby. Similar to the White Sox, the Marlins need talent all over the roster, and buying low on talented 20-somethings like Baty is never a bad move when your roster's this thin. Norby had a nice run around after coming over from the Orioles at trade deadline. He did so while playing a good amount of second. Play Baty at third and Norby at second, and there you go. Norby would have no issue making all the pieces fit together. Miami. I'm not sure what the Marlins could send the Mets in a Baty trade, or give them a call, seeing what it'll take to get it done. I would mention about the Marlins. Their farm is pretty lousy, but their pitching has been pretty fair and pretty good. The Sacramento Athletics, or as we like to call them, the Ghetto Athletics, or the Nomadic Athletics. They're looking for a third base, and they have Darryl Hernandez. They have to spend money to add pitching to this offseason. Signing Luis Severino and Jeffrey Springs, they made a trade for, mostly to keep the Major League Baseball Players Association off their back about they use their revenue. Mostly to keep the Major League Baseball Players Association off their back about how they use their revenue sharing money, and it's possible they'll spend more money at third base. Maybe Alec Bohm. That'd be great. He could be a fit anyway. Anyway, the A's have an interesting roster. I don't know if it's a good roster, but how do you rate this and you don't know about this stuff? And Baty would make it a little more interesting just based on the fact that he's a former top prospect. Hernandez is an interesting young player himself, and he's versatile enough to play at other infield positions. Giving Hernandez and Baty the playing time they need won't be difficult, okay? That's not the worst idea. And if the A's see something in him, they'll get something out of him. They will. I mean, if the A's like you, that's a good sign. Because then he'll get a chance to play. There's no pressure there and wherever the hell they're playing. The Los Angeles Angels. They have there, it's funny you should mention, one of the worst guys in baseball hates baseball. Anthony Rendon. In the last 4 seasons, Rendon has played 58, 47, 43, 57 games and doesn't care. It's near certain that he's going to miss time of injury, so much so the Halos are said to be in the market for a third baseman. The Angels made a few win-now moves this winter, getting UC Kikuchi, which they'll flip if they have to, or a Soler, which they'll flip if they have to. And of course, Travis Darno, who will still flip if they have to at the trade deadline. And giving the Bay the chance to sink or swim at the MLB level doesn't jive with that. But they are coming off a franchise record of 99 losses. Adding a young player upside isn't a bad idea. I mean, that's not the worst place. Number 5, the Milwaukee Brewers. I don't see. They have Oliver Dunn and friends. As expected, the Brewers lost Willie Adams to free agency, and they are expected to slide Joey Ortiz over the shortstop to replace him. That leaves third base to some combination of Dunn, Tyler Black, Andrew Monasterio, and the recently acquired Caleb Durbin. Milwaukee has a thing for hitters with high ground ball rates too, though Baty lacks the foot speed to make it work with the way that Sal Frelick, Garrett Mitchell, and Bryce Turang. The Brewers are the 2-time defending National League Central champs and expected to contend in 2025. They have only so much latitude to let a young hitter work through growing pains. I don't see that at all. I don't see that one iota. And then they mentioned here in this list is the Mets. I don't see the Mets. He'll be in AAA. He won't be with the Mets. I mean, the Mets, you can't. His thing. The Mets have given him a couple of chances to perform, and he has not done it. There's no reason to keep doing it, and you're just going to hurt his value if he struggles here. He might be better off going to a place that has no pressure on it and perform. The best, from this list, the best place he could go is the White Sox. There's no pressure there, no problems there. All we have to do is play and see what happens. They're a minor league team anyway. He's going to be in the minor leagues anyway. So might as well send him to the minor league teams in the major leagues. Might as well. I mean, and he'll be no pressure, be away from New York. We won't have to see him on a regular basis. Maybe just 3 games, I guess, here in at Citi Field, and that's it. If he's not hurt. But, I mean, that's really the most obvious place for him to go, is with the White Sox. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. Of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. And, of course, we got memberships here. Please send me super thanks as a donation for all the great work I do. And have a good day, and I'll see you later.